Hi, this is Tia BRAZDA, and you're listening to Recess with Spinelli.
Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
I got cabin fever.
You are listening to Recess with Spinelli, WSPN Skidmore College Radio, 91.1 FM. I'm your host, Alexander Calder Spinelli, and today we are here with Toronto-based vintage jazz artist with a modern pop twist, Tia BRAZDA. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, you just released your latest album, which is Bandshell, just last week, and this is officially your debut LP, your first full-length album, is that right?
That's correct. I had an EP previously. I'd had 5 songs on it, but Bandshell is my first full-length album with 10 songs, so I'm really excited about it.
So from your EP, which was Cabin Fever, what are some of the differences? How did you approach this full-length LP differently?
Well, with Cabin Fever, I didn't have as much time to work with. It was 5 songs long, so I guess that with Bandshell, I could explore more elements of my personality on this album. You know, I have some really upbeat songs. I have some more romantic songs. I have, it's just a wider range of work.
Is there one song that's your favorite or that you're particularly proud of writing and completing?
There are some things I really like about the album. It's hard for me to objectively say that it's hard for me to listen to myself singing. I really love the fiddle solo on Old Fashioned Love. That was by Miranda Mulholland. She came to us from a band called Great Lake Swimmers. I listened to it over and over again.
Now, have you largely played these songs before in front of an audience before the release of it, or is this roughly the first time people get to hear all these new tracks?
It's roughly the first time. Like for a lot of the songs, it'll be the first time on this tour, but previously we'd been playing Hard Luck for a couple of years, in particular like at the swing dances that we tend to play a lot of. And also, just like that, we were playing for quite a while too. But songs like Shine, All For You, Old Fashioned Love, those are really new additions to the album. Actually, Shine was one of the last songs written, and All For You was recorded the day before we handed in the album to have it mastered. So, yeah, some people have not heard any of these songs, really.
About the song, Shine, it definitely seems to have an uplifting message of hope, I suppose. Is there a story in particular behind that song?
Yeah, I guess, I really want people to listen to it and apply it to whatever they want to. I like that a song just goes and lives on its own, and you can imagine it applying to your life in any way that it needs to. But in particular, this song was about a friend of mine that was going through a really difficult time, and I guess you could say was feeling pretty depressed. And this person is really creative and talented and amazing. So, it's hard when you see someone you care about that is so great, and they're struggling and feeling like so bad. So the song is just basically telling them, and anyone that's going through that sort of feeling, that things do get better, and there's usually someone that loves you more than you love yourself.
Sometimes it all falls apart and it tears up your heart and you feel like you got.
I understand, though, that you do co-write your songs with other people to help give you more of an objective feel. What exactly does this do for the songwriting process? Does it make it easier, more difficult?
I think co-writing for me is really natural and flows much better than writing by myself. I focus on writing the melody and the lyrics. But I feel like when you bring other people into the writing process, it really, for me, I like the songs better that way, because it's not all myself. Like, I can really appreciate what Mike or Chris or Mark bring to it with the music element of it, because the arrangements, they bring so much to the song. I love collaborating, and once upon a time I used to only write. I just want to write everything myself, and I was kind of closed off to the idea of co-writing. I felt like in some way it compromised your artistic integrity or something, like whatever. But I realize now that songs, you need to do what's best for the song. So if you, like in my case, like I'm a singer and I like to work with words. That's, I guess, my forte in the process. But I'm not an awesome guitar player. So I think when you can find someone else that can do better than you should work with that person. Bring it all together.
Going back actually to Cabin Fever, that EP. Now that seemed to get a lot of notoriety through the electro swing crowd. Was that something that you're going for intentionally, or is that just by accident?
That was so unexpected. I had no idea. And I always loved jazz and swing jazz, and like I've played swing dances for years, but I was not previously aware of the electro swing community before Cabin Fever. And then I got invited to play the electro swing dance, which happens in Toronto, and it's this huge thing. Like hundreds of people go out to these dances, and DJ Medicine Man, who's the guy that runs it in Toronto. Over the years now, like we've become really close. We've done a ton of shows. The electro swing community is amazing and really supportive. I ended up going over to Europe too and collaborating with a DJ, Max Pasham, who does an electro swing thing in the UK. And I went to the electro swing party in France. So like now I love electro swing. It's cool because it's like jazz and like that old school bit, but then you have the really modern house beats and different kind of like really strong dance rhythms. So I love it.
Have you ever thought about incorporating more of an electronic feel in your music in the future, or is your preference for more of that acoustic live performance feel?
Well, I'm actually collaborating with some DJs in the electro swing scene that are going to do some remixes. And so right now, like I've kept my stuff pretty organic on this album. And then we're going to, have some fun with the remixes and see what we can come up with for the electro swingers.
What exactly is it about swing, jazz, swing, rockabilly, I guess the encompassing genres that gravitate you towards them so much?
I think I like the energy. So I find like rockabilly and electro swing and swing jazz, jump blues, they all have the energy in common, which is... and very strong with the beat, so I like stuff that it's going to be fun to perform.
Do you have a first memory of when you really started liking this music and when you thought that this was what you wanted to go into?
Yeah, I first got into jazz when I was in my senior year in high school, and my parents didn't listen to jazz. They listened to like everything but jazz, and my band teacher, he heard my voice, I don't even remember how, but he was like, "You're a jazz singer," and I was like, "What?" So he burned a CD for me, and I took it home, listened to Ella Fitzgerald, Nina Simone, Billie Holiday, and I loved it, and it just felt so easy to sing along with, and so enjoyable and positive, and that's how I got into jazz.
Regarding the album Bandshell, on the Facebook page, you described or made a couple announcements. The first one said that you weren't going to release on Spotify, and the second one said that you may potentially release on Spotify. So what are some of the reasons, and what can people expect?
Well, my philosophy on that was like, for example, when someone releases a movie in a theater, they don't put it on Netflix the same day. They don't put it on streaming services the exact same day, So I kind of didn't see the point. Like, maybe eventually I'll put it on a streaming service, but it is really difficult for musicians and artists in general to survive and continue doing what they love doing. And, as much as like, I don't think any artist does it for the money, because it's definitely, it's not one of those industries for most people. But I do like encourage people like to try to purchase music or like not download when it's possible, or if they really support an artist to, make a point of buying the album, because it does really help us to keep going and be able to like afford to make a new album. I feel like in the same way, I feel like if someone downloads something illegally but they come to the show and they're super supportive, then I'm like okay with that.
So coming from Canada to the US to do gigs here, is it a little bit tricky? Is there like visas involved? Is there specific customs things? Is it a pain?
There is a huge process to coming here. We have the AFM, which is the American Federation of Musicians. It's a union that Canadians can join as well. It's pretty reasonable to join. They're really helpful. The thing is, the process, the first time you do it, I heard, is the hardest, and this was the first time, so it was like filling out paperwork for everyone. There's application fees that are, to put it bluntly, it costs a lot of money. And then there's a lot of paperwork involved, plus health insurance, plus going to the border. It's in the thousands.
Now, so with your concerts, at the end of a show, or even at the end of an album listening, what do you hope the listener and the audience takes away from your music?
I hope that people leave my shows feeling happy, and if they came in feeling sad, I hope they feel good when they leave.
Yeah. All right, is there anything else that you would like to add?
I really like it here. I'm very happy to be touring, and the adventures in New York have been very fun. There's just always things to discover in every city or town you go to, and people to meet that otherwise would have never, come into your life. So that's one thing I really like about playing music and touring, is just meeting all the interesting people.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
You have been listening to Recess with Spinelli, WSPN 91.1 FM, Skidmore College Radio. And today we have been speaking with Tia BRAZDA. Her brand new album, Bandshell, is available now.